Wow, look at this beautiful tomahawk steak, smoked to perfection, layered with flavor, juicy and tender. I absolutely love smoky meats. Just think about briskets, ribs, all the good stuff, even smoked chicken. It's so fantastic. And why? Because you're adding layers of flavor, and at the same time you're making meat juicy and tender while it's getting cooked. And with everything that we smoke, we almost never smoke steaks. I'm not talking about a reverse sear steak because we do that a lot, but I mean a proper smoked steak. Just like we smoke a brisket, adding on layers of flavor and making it taste good. So I decided to smoke a tomahawk steak. Look at this beauty, a real gorgeous tomahawk steak. Small fat cap on top, nice amount of intramuscular fat, big bone on the end. Absolutely fantastic, waiting to be smoked. But first, let's get some flavor on. Of course, flavor starts with the main ingredients. That's why I selected this beautiful Dutch tomahawk. Locally grown and very, very tasty. I'm gonna make it look a little better than it does right now by cleaning up the bone. With the point of my meat hook, I'm easily scraping off the silver skin. And with my knife, I'm trimming off the rest. Next step is to take some butcher's twine and tie the meat up to make sure that it keeps its form as much as possible. Then it's time to drill a hole. Yes, that's right, I'm drilling a hole in my tomahawk steak. And of course, this steak deserves a beautiful crust. So I'm gonna chop fine some oregano leaves and chop fine some parsley. And this is going to be a mix of fresh and dried herbs. I'm starting off with 3 tablespoons of fleur de sel, which is a light sea salt, 1 tablespoon of fine chopped parsley, 1 tablespoon of fine chopped oregano, a tablespoon of paprika powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of fresh ground piña pepper. And now it's time to mix it up. And as you can see, this rub could do with another tablespoon of parsley and oregano. That looks way better. To get this to stick to my steak properly, I'm gonna need an adhesive. I'm gonna use a local mustard. Rub it on real good and then the spice mix goes on. Now I have the crust that I was looking for. It's time to fire up our barbecue. I'm gonna be cooking on the borniak smoker today, and there's a good reason why. Did you see the weather? It's literally insane. Let me show you. I live here in the open fields and there used to be a tree right there. And since the weather's not cooperating, I'm choosing the barbecue that always works. Since this is an electric barbecue, all I need to do is just turn it on, set the temperature to where I want it to be, which in my case is gonna be 120 degrees Celsius, and then I'm gonna put my steak in the smoker. And now you can finally see why I drilled a hole in my steak, so that I can hang it in my barbecue. Slide it in, look at that beauty hang. And by hanging the steak, it's free of contact and the air gets the best opportunity to go all around. And what's even better, this steak is gonna get evenly cooked like crazy. I'm gonna put in a bowl of water that catches the embers of the smoke wood. And I'm gonna put in the bowl to catch the greases. And to keep everything nice and clean, I'm sliding in a grease tray. And as a smoke wood, I'm selecting oak. This is gonna give the steak a strong, pronounced smoke flavor. And the last step is to stick my thermometer in just to make sure I got my temperatures right. Dead center, there we go. Now I'm gonna close the lid and let the borniak smoker do its job. I'm feeling hungry, so I'm gonna make something on the side, starting with some garlic bread. For that I'm taking 100 milliliters of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of fine chopped parsley, a tablespoon of fleur de sel sea salt, 1 teaspoon of fine ground piña pepper, 1 clove of garlic pressed, and 1 tablespoon of fine grated Parmesan cheese. Now how easy is that? All we need now is a little bit of bread. The coarser your bread is, the better it's gonna taste. And I'm gonna slide my bread into the borniak smoker, and because I used oak to smoke, we already have a pronounced smoke flavor, so it's time to turn the smoke off. Now of course, I could stop there, but I love cheese so much. That's why I always want a little bit more cheese, and I found this beautiful French cheese. And this isn't pasteurized. This is like raw cow milk, and they put it in a beautiful box like this. But in reality, they ripe it and then it doesn't look like that at all. Look at this. It looks horrible on the outside, but this is what real ripening of cheese looks like. Completely molded on the outside, a big bark, and then of course they take something like this to wrap it around and hide all the goodness in. Because who wants a piece of birch sitting on the outside of their cheese? Well, I do. I want to see the truth. I want to get the truth out and be able to see the beauty. Now, you find these cheeses in the Dutch supermarket every now and then. This is not a regular thing, but it's just crazy. It's for the cheeseheads among us. Now, what I want to do is I want to smoke it, and I want it to be a dip for my garlic bread. So I'm going to take off the outside of birch, and then I'm going to take this little wooden box, line it with a sheet of baking paper, take the bottom of the cheese, real careful. You gotta be extremely careful here because this cheese is gonna fall apart in no time. And it already starts sticking to my knife. Look at it. Oh. If you love cheeses like I do, then this is gonna make you happy. It's so soft. That's why I love French people, because they make beautiful cheeses. And now we're putting it back in that little tray, right there. And we're going to set it in a smoker with the bread, and I'm gonna raise the temperature up in my barbecue to 150 degrees Celsius. Now I created a full meal, something that's gonna fill me up and a couple of people, because otherwise it will be a struggle. Who's gonna eat the steak? Well, I'm gonna eat part of the steak and I'm gonna share it with my friends, just like I have the garlic butter and the cheese. Now let's close the lid and let this barbecue do its job, man. Come on. Are you ready for the cheese? Now I have a beautiful local grown tomahawk steak covered with a crust out of mustard, smoked to perfection with oak smoke wood until it was juicy and tender, accompanied with homemade garlic bread, topped with a Parmesan cheese that turned golden brown and crispy. And to bring it all together, I melted a French cheese that has been aged in birch bark. Rich and creamy, perfect to dip the garlic bread in. And now it's time to slice up our tomahawk and bring it all together. Where to begin? Where to begin? Seriously, this is a meal made for me. This is what, if you ask me what I want to eat this. Steak, bread, garlic bread, and cheese. And our dog wants some too, but it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna start with the garlic bread and the cheese. Look at this. Now this cheese is already soft when it's at room temperature. Currently it's a little bit colder out. But when I put it in that smoker, it started melting instantly. That olive oil mixture for the garlic bread is golden. But the most important question is how the steak tastes. And this steak is so tender, it's insane. I could hardly cut it with my knife. It's just, it shreds, it falls apart. And did you see the crust that we built up? Insane. Oh. Whoa, now that's flavor.
Seriously, that's a good crust.
It tastes like salami,
Yeah.
but like a beef version of salami, and really, really good.
But also, it's so tender, it reminds me of that like one of those crazy Wagyu steak we had in the past months.
And it's juicy and it's tender, and it has a nice dry crust on the outside, so you really don't have to rest it. That's not even like necessary. You got edge-to-edge pink.
Yeah, seriously.
This is really, really good. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Are you moving out?
I'm moving out. I'm grabbing some cheese.
And then you guys can click on the next video because it's gonna be freaking awesome. In the meantime, I'm gonna thank the patrons and the YouTube members. And I wanna say eet smakelijk to everyone. And I hope to see you guys next time while I devour the cheese. Oh my God.